Hello, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel, and here is the weekly tarot card for the week commencing Monday, the 9th of October 2017, and it's the Hanged Man. Now, I'm going to bring this up. Sorry about the light. I don't have a ring light today. This is just a light that is trying to help out, but you can see there's a man hanging upside down. Immediately when people come in for a reading, this comes out, they want to turn it up the other way. But it is the Hanged Man, and people think, oh my goodness, but I love the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man has served me well on so many occasions, and I'd like you to understand how he's going to serve you this week. But first, a note from our sponsor, which is me. I just want to say that if you like the way I read the tarot, and you like the weekly tarot card, my book that's been out about 5-6 years now is Tarot Novice to Pro in One Book by Colette Clairvoyant, and I hope you'll consider it if you want to look for more information on the tarot, or are a beginner that wants to have one book that could maybe guide them through a lot of things. And that's it done. Be a bit awkward about promoting myself, but it's the way that we can keep the channel going. So anyway, back to the Hanged Man, and there goes Nelly on a dive. The Hanged Man card in general is about waiting and seeing. The big esoteric meaning is about sacrificing and waiting for knowledge, you know, literally having yourself in a situation where you're hanging about or sacrificing. And in many spiritualities, there's the sense of sacrifice to gain knowledge or enlightenment. And to be honest, in most of the traditional decks, if you look closely at the Hanged Man, you may notice that it doesn't look as though his hands are tied behind his back. They're just really behind his back. So he could unhook himself when he wanted to, but that's not the point of the card. He's willing to stay in stasis, even if it's a bit uncomfortable. Even if it's hard for him, he's willing to stay and go the distance so that he can have the spiritual knowledge in the longer term. So in general, it's about waiting and seeing. It's sometimes about sacrificing to gain something else. And sometimes it's just about being still for a while and acceptance of what's going on round about you. In my book, Karma City, Ouija Tarot, there's a good explanation of this card in modern day times, so you might quite like that one. I really enjoyed writing that aspect of it, but it's a whole chapter on the Hanged Man, and it's to do with a fairground and a fairground ride going wrong, and I think you might like it. So that's Karma City, Ouija Tarot. I keep forgetting about that book, but it's one of my favourites that I wrote, one of my favourites I enjoyed writing. Anyway, so the weekly tarot, generally the Hanged Man, the whole energy will be things slowing down, appearing to stagnate, appearing not to go anywhere. There'll be a feeling of delays and frustrations and annoyances. But these things are only temporary. They're not going to go on forever. So it's important that you realise that and give things time. If you're waiting on a letter, it'll probably be delayed. If you're waiting to hear if you've got a job or a house or whatever, it'll probably be delayed. And in that time, you'll start to feel anxious and whatever. And the whole point about this card is to try and pull back on the anxiety. And I would say that one word associated with this card that you need to learn for the week ahead is acceptance, particularly when you don't know an outcome. Just accept that for now things are going the way they're meant to be, even though you don't know it, even though you perceive a delay, okay? So if we look at it as far as career's concerned, if you're waiting on a promotion, you might wait longer, but the longer term outcome will actually be better for you. Sometimes if you've applied for a job or maybe 2 or 3 jobs and you get an answer on one of them or an interview with one of them, and it wasn't your favourite, but you know it's there and should you go for it? Sometimes you've got to go for something but still holding out for the other thing, and sometimes a delay or a time deficit is the thing that gives the other job a chance to come round. Have you ever noticed that you maybe wanted something and you've been diverted and things have been held up, and before you knew it, come right back round again? There's a karmic side to this card that if you can sacrifice being in a hurry, if you can sacrifice trying to control situations, then you should come out in a good way. So for career, don't think, if you've not heard about something this week ahead that isn't there for you. It just might not be there for you this week, but the wheels and the cogs are all spinning and working in the background, so please be aware of that. If we look at it in health, it's again maybe waiting for doctor's appointment, waiting for consultants. But this card always gives me knee problems. It's my card that I refer to for the knee. So those of you that have sore knees or problems with your knee, try and not put too much weight on them, try and not sort of hurt them in any way. And also I know that if you're waiting for a knee op, it might not be delayed, it might actually come forth this week ahead. Not a wee bad card if you take the knees out of it. It can be simply that things are in motion and you just have to hold your horses and wait and see, okay? It's about being contented, knowing that things take time. That's the way I would think of it. Obviously, if you get something that needs seen immediately or you feel it's an emergency, then go against this card. Act on your own intuition. Be sure that you're always following what's coming from your higher self, because this is a general card in a general situation, but it doesn't suit everybody. And if you need seen by a doctor or whatever, go with your intuition and not this card. But if you know that tests have been done and you're simply waiting on the outcome, have an acceptance and a patience. With relationships, it's very much saying, you might have been out for a date and then not heard from someone. Don't assume that means the relationship isn't going ahead. Just wait and see. And if you're in a long-term relationship, sometimes there's a time for sacrificing for the longer term of the relationship, maybe saying, well, we'll plan to have a baby but next year, or we'll plan to get our finances under control and then we can do this, that and next thing next year. And sometimes you find with this out that it's your time to sacrifice for a partner. Maybe the partner's been invested in you for a long time and now they want to do their thing, and that may involve sacrifices. But if it's your turn to return the favour or to balance out the karma, then please do it this week. And with finances or money, it's very much the same. It can be about being frugal in the now for something better longer term. It can also mean that we have to sacrifice, like if you've got a budget, you have to say, right, well, for me to put by for Christmas presents, I need to sacrifice my coffees at work or something like that. This is the way to think on this card. What can you sacrifice financially now so that it will build up for something better further ahead? If you find that your budget is all over the place and that it's a time where you have to be very frugal, this card can allow us to accept that yeah, we had a busy summer, or we've done this, or we've had a good holiday, and now we just have to accept that we have to be frugal for a while. So it can be a good card. Some people see it, negative, hanged man, and, you're stuck or whatever. And yes, that can be a part of it, but to understand the sort of depth of the card is that these sacrifices loosen things up for a better result or a good long-term result. So enjoy the Hanged Man, watch your knees, and if you like this, give me a thumbs up. And again, if you want to learn the Tarot Novice to Pro in one book by Colette Clairvoyant is available all over the place. Many blessings now. Bye.